live. Should be live. Let me just double check here. Good evening. Good night. We're going to do just pretty much 2 updates. I haven't watched this video yet. It's the brother speaking out, doing an interview with Fox, and also some of the comments that one of the victims' father and mother has made, where they're kind of like, to me, straight out pointing the finger at Jordan. And everybody's, still waiting on the talks. By the way, the last 2 lives that I did on this topic, YouTube demonetized. I don't know what's going on with them. It's kind of a little annoying. I did an additional request, so hopefully we'll see if they fix it. But there's no reason to demonetize this video. It's ridiculous. So yeah, and then tomorrow morning we're coming back again for day 2 of Jennifer Crumley. All right. I really thought we were just going to do 1 day of it, but apparently there's a lot of interest. It seems like it. We'll see how day 2 comes. So we'll be back tomorrow, I think at 8:45 a.m. I don't think we have to come so early. I was even going to start at 9. I was thinking, even though they're supposed to, the jury is going to be there at 8:30. Today was supposed to be 8:30 and they started at 9. I don't know. I feel like we could just catch up during the lunch break. I don't think we have to be here like crack of the morning, like crack, like just crazy like that. What's up? What's up? All right, so I guess let's get into it. I haven't seen this interview yet. I want to keep following the story and giving little updates when I can. By the way, if there's a chase, not another, but if there's a chase tonight, make sure you're subscribed to the second channel. Did we get notifications? I noticed the 30-minute notification didn't go out. It did send out a notification just now. All right, so people should be getting that. If there's a chase tonight, it's not going to be on this channel because then we're not going to have any notifications for the morning. So it's going to be on the second channel, Ikedmel space CC, ICKEDMEL space CC. Make sure you're subscribed to that because when we're covering trials, which it looks like January and February, we're going to be doing that. When there's extra videos and we don't have notifications because I'm doing extra stuff, we're going to be doing things on the second channel. All right, so please do that so you don't miss out.
There are so many questions after those 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans.
I might be too loud from earlier. Let me see. Oh, no.
Well, this morning, there are so many questions after those 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans were found dead in the frozen backyard of their friend, Jordan Willis, more than 2 weeks ago. Willis's attorney admitting a 5th person was also in the house when Willis went to bed on the couch, where he slept for 2 days, he says, until his friends' bodies were found.
Before he fell asleep, they were going to leave. He actually escorted them to the door, said their goodbyes, opened the door. He went back on the couch and he crashed.
But that 5th person reportedly denying all of that. He claims that he left the house while the 3 friends and Willis were still awake watching Jeopardy and insisting that he was not the last one to see them alive. Grieving family members, including our next guest, demanding answers. Jonathan Price. His brother was one of the men found in the backyard. His name was Ricky Johnson. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for joining us. I know your family is just devastated. Everyone on this couch has a brother. You say things are not adding up. What do you mean?
Well, for one, like you guys just showed, does he know when they left or does he not? Does he know if his dogs were there? Does he not? There's way too many questions still needing to be answered. And nobody can answer those questions in honesty except for Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been covering this pretty extensively. I'm going to make a playlist tonight and put it on my front page of YouTube. I noticed some people that watch me are saying, oh, did you see this or did you do that? And we've been covering like everything. So I'll put a playlist so you guys can check out the stuff that's missed. And then I'll also make a playlist for the trial. And somebody asked me about covering Harmony to Montgomery. I mean, I plan to. I don't know what's going to happen because we're covering Crumley's. That's going to interject, I think, with Montgomery. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there.
The 5th person, he was there, but he wasn't there after a certain time frame.
Well, and didn't Jordan's attorney say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he saw his 4 friends out at the end of the night?
Yes, that's what he originally said. And then he kind of backtracked on it after the 5th person came out. And that's just the stuff that's not adding up.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to change your story, then how do we know at any time were you telling the truth? It doesn't make any sense.
Jonathan, so many people, when we read the story for the first time, we thought, who sleeps on a couch for 2 days? How did that happen? What do you think happened?
I mean, that part makes no sense to me, especially when it seems like you're a responsible individual, a responsible enough individual to gain a PhD in what seems like a very complicated science. You know, if you're one of those type of people, in order to sleep all day on a Monday, which I assume was a work day, if you're working from home.
That's a really good point he brings up too. What about work? You know, the first claim was that he had, well, first they actually said that he had been sporadically, it seemed like he said sporadically in and out of the house, the attorney. Then he changed it up and he said he was fixing it and that he actually had just stayed home the entire time because he works from home. And then the other thing was that, what about the dogs that Jordan has? And the attorney said that the dogs were at the father's house. But now the person that came out, the fifth person, is saying, no, I saw the dogs there. They were there. Just a bunch of that. The attorney's not doing any favors for Jordan. It's just a little surprising to see that I think he's actually doing more harm than good. It's like, and that's what the title of the video yesterday. The attorney needs an attorney.
Home. I mean, I don't know how that is possible.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't be able to do that.
It's being reported.
And my job's not nearly as complicated.
Yeah, it's being reported that Jordan Willis, the guy who owns the house, who was allegedly asleep on the couch for 2 days, is an accomplished scientist. What are police telling you?
Police have not told us a single thing. Not my mother. The last my mother heard was that they were still trying to get through the phones, and that was well over a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. And Clayton's fiance, Clayton is one of your brother's best friends. All three of them, I understand, were inseparable. Clayton's fiance had to break into the house 2 days later because she wasn't hearing from her fiance, right?
Correct.
And then what did she find when she went into the house?
Well, she announced her presence. She made that very clear. And there was no answer from anybody, so she assumed that nobody was home. So she continued her search to where she, the official statement wasn't actually released, so I don't know who she found on the back porch. But as soon as she found someone on the back porch, she immediately called the police. And when the police showed up, that's when Jordan answered the door as if he had no idea anything was going on. And you know, from there on, it was, you know, we haven't really gotten something we can call the truth from it.
That's insane to me. You're in your own home. Somebody has to break in there after the banging, knocking, the supposed calls, texts, all this stuff. Which even that's another inconsistency because they had said they only got a Facebook message thing that he didn't read, but the fifth person said, no, I actually called or texted Jordan. They never mentioned that. Jordan's people, his attorney. How do you have three? It's just so hard. Because I think it's like I'm trying to do the benefit of the doubt trying to thing. And I'm trying to hold out because I've seen stories where some people like falsely accused type of shit. So like I really try to hold out. I'm like, okay, let's wait. Let's see. And then it's just like, I don't know. But the more and more that keeps coming out, it looks kind of funky. I think people ask me like, so hey, Coon B, how you doing? I see people asking like, what do they think happened? I think it was probably like an OD type of thing. That they were all partying. It just doesn't make sense to me why this other guy, Jordan, or even the fifth person, were unscathed. I know I heard that I thought they were going to different parties that night or something before they went to Jordan's. I thought like they had gone and watched the game at different houses. I think. I mean, I don't know. Could it be that the three had taken something and the other two didn't? You know, had this guy come out with one story instead of all this mixed, concocted stuff that just keeps changing and changing, I was almost going to back off at one point. And then I feel like they almost kind of like dug themselves into a hole.
Anyway.
And then the three, and Clayton's fiance, Clayton is one of your brother's best friends. All three of them, I understand, were inseparable. Clayton's fiance had to break into the house 2 days later because she wasn't hearing from her fiance, right?
Correct.
And then what did she find when she went into the house?
Well, she announced her presence. She made that very clear. And there was no answer from anybody. So she assumed that nobody was home. So she continued her search to where she, the official statement wasn't actually released. So I don't know who she found on the back porch. But as soon as she found someone on the back porch, she immediately called the police. And when the police showed up, that's when Jordan answered the door as if he had no idea anything was going on. And from there on, it was we haven't really gotten something we can call the truth from him anyway.
And then the 3 men were found in the backyard. Were they frozen to death?
Well, the official cause of death is not stated, but they do say at the very beginning that they did freeze to death. Yes.
Yeah. Were there any drugs involved? Have you gotten toxicology reports back?
Toxicology is still waiting for a couple weeks, they said. That's the last we heard from Jordan's lawyer, because apparently they are anxiously waiting for that as well. I'm sure they would be, especially if he does know what's going on.
Jonathan, I know that the police are conducting this investigation, but what's your family going through, especially not having any answers?
That's the biggest thing is, I can't speak on all of my family, but for myself, it's been very difficult. And I don't think that I can ever fully heal until I find out what happened. And I'll never be fully healed. I admired my brother so much.
What was he like?
I looked up to him. Huge sports fan. Everything sports, no matter what it was. His 3 beautiful daughters. He loved them to death.
Damn, 3 daughters.
And you can see him when you look at them so much. They look just like him, and it's very difficult.
How are they doing?
Well, not all of them understand. The older 2 definitely going through a very hard time.
Gosh.
I'm not sure if the youngest one fully understands right now, being 4. So I'm not sure how much she's seeing online and everything. Yeah. But it's just very difficult to.
Jonathan, this is a very important story. Everyone is concerned about this because we all watch football. We've been watching the Chiefs, and we can all relate to this story. We go to, tailgates. We go to people's houses to watch games, and we all bring a dip or chips or whatever. And this happened to your family, and it's just so bizarre. You're in our prayers. God bless you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you.
I saw some comments too that I thought was interesting. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, this morning there are.
I don't see it anymore. There was a comment that I thought was really interesting. Maybe people could share some stories in the chat. There was somebody that had commented about that one time he had a friend or a couple of friends that had drunk and passed out, and he woke up the next day and found them in the snow. And he's like, oh, it's possible. I can't see it anymore. Let me say they were most likely drunk and didn't feel it. There could be a brat said they were drunk when they left the house. Oh my God, this person is crazy. At least they didn't get in their vehicles, drive off, and kill somebody, Lord. All right, I want to show you some comments too that the parents had made. This was pretty interesting too. This was a Daily Mail article that was posted about 30 minutes ago. Or an hour ago, they updated it. And so it says, let me just skip to where we already know the story. I don't have to go through this whole thing. So they're waiting on the toxicology reports. Harrington's father, John, said that he believes the 3 victims may have learned something or saw something that they shouldn't have before their deaths. I don't know. This guy was a Jordan, a scientist, chemist. And I remember one of the parents that said something about like she believed that he concocted something. Like I don't know, were these people taking experimental stuff? You know, this guy had access probably to who knows what would have had access to. And even in one of the previous streams I've covered, you know, I used to research stuff back in the day, and there's a whole thing of like research chemicals online that people take it for recreational purposes, and it's not regulated because it's just research chemicals. So people can like ship it, or you can get it from other countries, or who knows, maybe this guy could batch something up himself. Again, the only thing to me, again, like I don't know if you know, this Jordan was fine and not dead, and also the fifth person. And I don't know what happened after the fifth person left. He said he left around 12, I believe. They also go on to say the grieving father told Fox News Digital, Harrington's mother and I are both convinced that Jordan Willis played a part in this somehow. We just haven't figured out how yet. What else could it be? Perfectly healthy men don't just drop off the face of the earth. There were 4 of you in the house, and now 3 of them are dead, and you're not. That doesn't add up. I'm thinking that the 3 of them learned something or saw something that they shouldn't have seen, and he decided, well, I need to get rid of you now or not. I mean, but how? How would he just 3 people like that? You referenced the theory that the men's deaths were related to drugs. Officials are still waiting on the toxicology report. Harrington Sr. said, I'm aware that they may have done substances that were questionable, but the idea was to get high, not dead. So I'm really wondering what was the atmosphere like what kind of substances. Of course, none of these people are going to talk like Jordan, the fifth person. Everybody got lawyers. They lawyered up. I want to know what kind of substances did they partake in? You know, it's clearly more than drinking. I mean, to think that 3 people, all 3 drank to the point of blacking out, passing out just from drinking at the same time, I just think there has to be more. And whatever it was, I do think substances were involved. Whatever it was has to be strong as shit to have the similar effect on all 3 people, I would think. So it says here, Harrington Sr. said, oh, I just read this, but the idea is to get high, not dead. If they were supposed to be friends, why didn't Willis come find them? I'm sure they have 100 different answers to that, but that's my question. Harrington's mother, Jennifer Marquez, Harrington's mother told Fox, yes, I believe that something happened that night and that Jordan had something to do with it. We all believe that Jordan had something to do with that. He sat in that house for 2 days. He's had no drugs. He sat in the house for 2 days. He's had no drug test done on him. He's had no alcohol test. He's had nothing to see how he might be included in this. He has had nothing to see how he might be included in this. They've given him 2 weeks to get any evidence completely gone. And Jordan Willis, he's not arrested. He's not facing any criminal charges. But, I guess family or a lot of people are pointing the finger at him. Mother claimed, according to Fox, Jordan is not telling the truth. When you tell the truth, your story is solid. It's when you're lying that your story changes. And that's what's been happening. I don't understand why police don't see that. Let's see. Well, one of my friends was saying, if it was opioids laced with fentanyl, he damn sure may have slept for 2 days. Maybe that could be a thing too. Maybe that could be a thing. Just talking theories. Maybe Jordan was so out of it, high, whatever, that guy slept for 2 days straight and woke up. And when the cops was there, maybe he heard noise in the house. Somebody was in there, announcing themselves, but he didn't get up. And then the cops come. Homeboy answering the door in boxers and a glass bottle or a a wine glass. Maybe that guy was lit. He sat in the house for 2 days. He had no drug test done on him. He's had no alcohol test. He's had nothing to see how he might be included in this. They've given him 2 weeks to get any evidence completely gone. All right. Mother claimed Jordan's not telling the truth. Keeps changing his story. The fifth man who was present on the night stressed that it's absolutely not true that he was the last person to see the 3 men alive. So they even try to throw this man under the bus. The fifth man. Everybody having a lawyer up. Isn't that crazy? He has also now lawyered up, hiring a fierce criminal defense attorney, Andrew Talgi. So we already know the story. Talgi said his client arrived at 7 p.m. They're all hanging out until midnight. The 4 other men were watching Jeopardy when he left. And why is this the first time we're hearing about Jeopardy? Why didn't the other attorney, I don't know, tell us that story? The lawyer also said that on Tuesday, the day after the fifth man texted Jordan Willis, he sent this after Clayton McGeeney's fiance and Ricky Johnson's mother had got in touch asking about their loved ones. This contradicts what Willis's attorney, Persino, said on multiple occasions. He said that his client only received messages on Facebook Messenger, not text messages or calls. I mean, to me, you just can't ignore. It's just hard to, of course, we got to wait for the tox results. It's just really hard to ignore all these inconsistencies, man. It's just hard, bro. It's just hard. And then I can't imagine as for family, like I said before, like if it was your fiance, your brother, you know, like your son, whatever, you know they were at this house, most people will probably show up. The other thing too, I realize is sometimes hanging out with certain people in those situations where you're mentally incapacitated, some people are just not good people. Some people are just not good friends. I've gone out and, of course, you're supposed to be responsible for yourself, but you know, I used to go years and years ago to like Miami sometimes and party, and you know, I'd had situations where I got sick, I didn't feel good, I had to leave. Nobody knew I was gone. Nobody checked me. Nobody said, "Hey, Mel, you okay? Hey, whatever, you home?" And I remember one night after I was with a really good friend, I got a little sick or anxious, you know, whatever. I was feeling, I would have stepped out to get some air, and I told them I'd be right back. And they're like, "No, we'll come with you." They came with me, they stepped out, they hung out with me outside, we got cold air. And there's a difference sometimes in the people that you hang out with that'll just leave you for dead, that won't give a ish about you. And other people are like, "Hey, you good? Hey, did you make it home? Hey," like whatever, you know. But Jordan could have been incapacitated. He could have. That's a possibility too. That dude could have been whatever these other guys had. Somehow he survived. Maybe, I don't know. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. I think they were his lab rats. Why is Jordan's attorney so bad, right? I wonder how much he's being paid. Yeah, he should have had a straight. I don't know if he's, I don't know what his experience is like, that guy. He should have known coming on the internet, on the news, you better have like a solid whatever. And if you're going to add to the story, add to it in a way that makes sense, that evolves properly. And not only that, then to have somebody else with another attorney come out and contradict the stuff that you're saying, it's like, bro. Misi says all 3 men may have gone outside to cool off after taking whatever it is. Somebody had said that maybe they were the fentanyl made them feel hot. You know, I don't know what the effects of like that are. And people keep mentioning the carbon monoxide thing. I'm still trying to figure that out. Let's see. Most common causes of carbon monoxide building up are incorrectly installed or poorly maintained. I just still don't buy the carbon monoxide thing because, for a multitude of reasons. The men were outside after, like they left. They went outside. But not only that, Jordan was inside the whole time. So I don't know what, it didn't have any effect on him. And then there was the 5th person. And Jordan was there for days. You know, so I don't see why people, again, maybe there's something I'm missing because I don't live in cold temperatures, you know, Let me see. Furnace says heating system, your apartment smoke detector has carbon monoxide detector in it too. Most do. It's an odorless gas. It has an intoxicating effect on the body. Yeah, I still don't see that. I mean, I'm sure they'll be able to tell with the autopsy thing. I just don't see that theory. I don't know why. So again, yeah, no evidence of any foul criminal activity or foul play. Cops can lie. Cops can lie, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they're just holding out and waiting for the tox results. Cops can lie. I mean, the documentary I was watching last night, these cops were lying left and right, you know, and we're wrong too, really wrong. The story, American Nightmare on Netflix, really, really good watch. You guys should check it out if you haven't. It's a 3-episode series. Carolyn said he didn't pee for 2 days. You know, we did a live stream yesterday where we watched the inside of the house and the backyard and from the kitchen and the living room and all that stuff. There's so many windows in that back part of the house. And when you look from the inside, when we looked at the website listing from the inside, you know, he could have had curtains, blackout curtains, whatever. But if he didn't, you literally see everything from the outside. From like the inside, there's just these huge windows, the sliding door, the actual door, the windows, everything. And there's a little doggy entrance in the back door of the house in the backyard. So I don't know. This guy, Jordan Willis, though, you know, if he really had nothing to do with it, like he's saying, and cops are saying it's not a homicide investigation, I could only imagine, like, I don't know, this guy's probably shitting bricks, you know. I guess maybe he just lays low, you know. I don't know. I think he's not going. He hasn't gone to work or something. He took the time what do they call it? Time of leave, absence or whatever. He took some time off. And supposedly he was good friends with two of the guys. Well, look, they got a little timeline of events. So January 7th, the 3 men go to Jordan Willis's home, which starts at 3:25 p.m. Central Time. At some point during the night, Willis goes upstairs to sleep, leaving the men and another unnamed man to hang out in his house, which, you know, now it's like the 5th person's like, that's not true. That's not true. And then January 8th, Jordan Willis claims he did not leave his home this day, so he didn't realize the victims' cars were outside. Loved ones of the missing men start trying to contact Willis, who doesn't respond. And then on January 9th at nighttime, I think it was at nighttime. Well, the nighttime the bodies were found. Clayton McGeeney's fiance breaks into the home and screams Willis's name after 2 days of no communication with her partner. She finds one of the bodies on the back porch. I mean, I can't imagine, like, you got to be traumatizing. Where's Carlos, right? We need another Carlos. Who lives in that neighborhood? Pay time off. Thank you. Leave of absence. Thank you, guys. Oh, I see the question in the chat. I don't know if Jordan is or not. He kind of looks like it a little bit. I mean, I usually pretty bad at sensing that stuff, but he kind of looks like it a little bit. How dare you? She finds one of the bodies on the back porch at 9:51 p.m. 3 bodies are found at the property after police perform a welfare check. And so we talked about this too. I actually read this whole interview thing, this IAVI's HIV vaccine trials. And he's also compared the search for an effective HIV vaccine to COVID-19 vaccine research. I mean, I guess really well accomplished, educated. Graduated with a PhD in chemical and physical biology from Vanderbilt University in 2014. He previously studied chemistry and molecular biology at Northwest Missouri State University. In 2022, he received an award for his significant contributions to HIV vaccine development. So he's made a lot of contributions. In the intro section, and we did cover this yesterday, it's interesting that, like, sometimes we cover stuff, and this was actually sent to me by somebody. Like, a lot of the times, people will send me information. I appreciate that. I crowdsource the internet. So a lot of people help me out a lot. I appreciate that. Just people that subscribe and watch. I forgot who sent me this screenshot. Was it Wilson? Maybe I think it was Wilson. Let's see. Wilson sent this to me, right? And we talked about this last night, and it's funny now it's being mentioned in the article. So yeah, it was interesting that his bio, it could be nothing, could be something, I don't know. But his bio caption said, walking the line to be the funniest guy in the room and on a full mental breakdown. I don't know. Could be, just people, have little wonky captions or I don't know. Oh, I forgot about that. Those comments that somebody had sent me a while back. Maybe I'll make a short video. I'll probably make a short video on the second channel with those comments. One of Jordan's exes, supposedly. Well, on another social media platform, Willis described himself as self-proclaimed man about town. Whatever that means. Self-proclaimed man about town. And they said he's been cooperative. What more could you ask for, I guess, right? Cooperating, so. Did the homeowner have security? And I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. Oh my God. Yo, Sergeant King, freak off gone bad. A lot of people might not know that reference, but I'm not even gonna say what that reference is. I don't want to disrespect the guys. It just kind of made me laugh because I just think about all the crazy stories I've heard about that situation with the celebrity. Okay, let me see if there's anything else with this. I just wanted to do like a short stream today and kind of just go over the updates. I think those are the latest updates. Let me just do a quick scan. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm sure cops, I thought about the other day too. I'm sure cops are watching all this back and forth and like screen recording, downloading, taking notes. They're like, this is good. Oh, this is great. Oh, this is perfect. The cops are probably just taking notes, staying quiet. First we'll say, what's the point of being cooperative if you're lying? Yeah. Crenshaw Incorporated, what's up? Says, I want to send Ikemel something. Oh, you can email me at ikemel@gmail.com. Emily, where's Emily? You said look up above, but I'm trying to find it and I can't. Cuomo interview? Cuomo did an interview? Oh, let's check it out. Where's it at? Is it on his Did he post it yet?
The reality.
Oh, probably on News Nation. Was it on their TV thing or did they post it to YouTube yet already? News Nation. Ooh, where's that at? Oh, thank you, Alicia. Appreciate that. Oh man, YouTube TV, maybe. I just canceled mine. Let me see. Maybe I'll sign up just to watch it. Start the free trial. They give me a 5-day free trial. Yeah, just do it and cancel it. It's on YouTube. What should you? I don't see it on News Nation. Let's see. Are you saying YouTube TV? 2 hours ago. There's 2 Cuomo interviews? Where? Oh, you emailed me. Okay, let's see. Actually, I might not be able to pull it up on YouTube TV because I'd have to record. I would have had to record it. News Nation YouTube. Okay, I'll look again. Let me check. I will look again. Video. I'm looking at News Nation YouTube page. Hello. Oh, here. I found it. Oh. Okay. Bye. I'm sorry, guys. I was slacking. I was blind. All right, so I see one here from an hour ago. Let's check it out. Thank you for telling me.
If all of that is true, there is still a question. This has to be about drugs. If it, or, booze, drugs, whatever it is. Because if they're not shot and they're not stabbed and they're all dead, it just strains common sense to believe they could have wound up in this predicament if it wasn't done to them without drugs. It is the elephant in the room. What is the position of your client?
As I told you last night, Chris, I'm not in a position to comment on that at this time for a variety of reasons, not just on behalf of Jordan. And when and if the toxicology...
Was he trying to say not just on behalf of Jordan? Is he trying to say that, like, he's trying to imply something about somebody else? I mean, what do you mean not just on behalf of Jordan? I love that these guys are kind of pushing him, too.
In the room. What is...
This is the attorney for Jordan Willis, for those that don't know.
The position of your client?
As I told you last night, Chris, I'm not in a position to comment on that at this time for a variety of reasons, not just on behalf of Jordan. And when and if the toxicology report comes out and when we get it, I'd certainly be happy to comment on it at that time. I'm not going to speculate about the activity and the behavior of other people who were not in the presence of my client at some point in time that evening or early morning hours.
And look, we both understand the dilemma. Okay, if the tox comes out and they had whatever it is in it that makes this a more understandable situation, he's now going to be chasing his responsibility as opposed to being in front of it and owning what happened that night. And one of those is a much more satisfying thing in terms of credibility. You're aware that that is the dilemma here.
No, I don't see it that way. And, he has an attorney and I'm representing his best interest, and he did nothing wrong. And that's what we're saying. That's what we're maintaining. And that's what we're going to say, no matter what comes back in that autopsy report.
Right. Well, something's going to come back, and I will give you a platform at that time and we'll discuss it, because things just never don't make sense. Eventually it will make sense and responsibility will lie where it does, and we'll take it to its logical conclusion. John Paserno, thank you very much for being with us again.
Yes, I would like to address those the phone calls and the text messages if I could, please, since the reporter left that hanging out there.
Go ahead, because the initial suggestion was he only got a Facebook message and nobody was really trying to get him. Malik says that's not true, because the fifth friend says that he was getting messages and he was trying to find them and he wasn't getting his messages answered either. So what is it?
So I have sent your staff the records, his phone records, which I acquired this afternoon, and also the text message records. And during that period of time, the phone calls that came in on the early morning hour after the game on the 7th and the early morning hours of the 8th, all the way to the 8th, and then all the way to the 9th when the police came, the only calls that came in were one from his dad, which we recognize the number, and you have the actual numbers. And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number. He has a robo-killer app on his phone. And so when calls come in that are unrecognized or for whatever reason, they read as this dummy number. I've dialed this dummy number myself. It's a non-existent number. You get a message saying whatever. It's a dummy number. And then the only other call.
So he got, what did he say? He got 8 calls from a dummy number?
Police came. The only calls that came in were one from his dad, which we recognize the number, and you have the actual numbers. And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number. He has a robo killer app on his phone. And so when calls come in that are unrecognized or for whatever reason, they read.
Vic asked a good question. This lawyer has the ability to see deleted texts and calls.
Is this dummy number. I've dialed this dummy number myself. It's a non-existent number. You get a message saying whatever. It's a dummy number. And then the only other call that came in was all zeros, a call that he blocked again from a robocop.
What about
the text messages?
Yeah.
Robotext. Yeah. As far as the text messages.
What you say, robotext too now? What?
Robocop.
What
as far
about
as
text?
The text messages?
Yeah.
Robotext. Yeah. As far as the text messages go, what you have, there are a series of incoming text messages. That's all we have. There are no outgoing text messages. So the corollary to that, what goes along with what makes sense to that is when you and I get a text message, typically we're going to respond. If somebody texts you and says, hey, these 3 guys are missing, and they're your friend, you're going to respond.
No, not everybody. Not if you're kind of sus.
Go, what you have was all zeros, a call that he blocked again from a robocop.
What about
text? The text messages?
Yeah.
Robotext. Yeah. As far as the text messages go, what you have, there are a series of incoming text messages. That's all we have. There are no outgoing text messages. So the corollary to that, what goes along with what makes sense to that is when you and I get a text message, typically we're going to respond. If somebody texts you and says, hey, these 3 guys are missing, and they're your friend, you're going to respond. If Alex had said,
Yo, Wilson said, how is he blocking people while sleeping?
Someone had said to him, the text message came in, why don't you respond? You would respond to your friend, right? That's what you would do.
Maybe.
That's right. So there you go. Whoa, that's right. Maybe.
Porter wanted to twist my words when I said he didn't receive any messages. And technically I'm right. His phone received the messages. If you don't look at it, you did not receive the messages. I guess I should have said he didn't read the messages. And yes, as far as the text message from his friend, he did not tell me about that. And when I was informed of that, I asked him about that. And then he told me that's right. So there's 2 text messages, or excuse me, a Facebook message and a text message. And neither one he got before the police arrived at his home.
All right.
But the phone records that you have are consistent with him. If you look at them, the calls were early in the morning.
Yeah, we have
his
them.
dad called at noon and he picked up. He didn't pick up any in the morning. He didn't pick up any in the evening when he would have been sleeping. There were no other phone calls. And the text messages, the same way. There's no outgoing text messages those 2 days.
Right.
Which, as you know, who can stay off their phone for 2 days straight unless you're principally sleeping it out of it and you don't have your phone around you?
So is he trying to say that Jordan, is he just passed out for 2 days? So was he?
No outgoing text messages those 2 days.
Right.
Which, as you know, who can stay off their phone for 2 days straight unless you're principally sleeping it out of it and you don't have your phone around you?
Sleeping in and out of it?
Okay. So everything is
the way you see, like, Cuomo's response, he's not believing this stuff. Cuomo is not believing this shit. He's just like, okay.
consistent with what he's saying.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please
go. Flossie sent me a longer version. Let me just pull up this longer version here real quick. There's a couple minutes, like 3 minutes extra. I don't know what's on here. Let's take a look.
All right, let's bring back the lawyer for tenant Jordan Willis, whose home is where the bodies were found. Counsel Paserno, it's good to have you again. This is not new criticism.
Gotta love the lower third. Details keep changing and death. I mean, it's true though. It's
for
true.
you, but I do want you to clear it up for the
plaster
audience.
Right under him.
There is a suggestion that there have been inconsistent statements from your client through you and by him. How so? One, either he went to sleep and doesn't know what happened after he went to sleep, or he remembers them saying they were leaving and watching them leave. Which is it?
It's the latter. And I'm glad that the other people caught my typo, and I apologize.
All right, let's bring in inconsistent. I do want you to clear it up. That there have been through you and by him. How so? One, either he went to sleep and doesn't know what happened after he went to sleep.
So you're saying he just went to sleep, didn't know.
Or he remembers them saying they were leaving and watching them leave. Which is it?
It's the latter. And
I feel like it's both. I feel like he said both. He said now the new thing he's saying,
glad
he's seen
that
him
the other people caught my
leave through the front.
typo, and I apologize. The initial press statement was actually read by 3 different people when we missed it. And in the very first paragraph, There's one sentence that says he does, nor does he know how or when they exited his house. And then a few sentences later, it specifically says the last time he saw them was when they left his house.
Bro, and I saw that they called that on Facebook.
And he went to sleep on the couch. So obviously those two statements are inconsistent. Those two things could not have happened. That was pilot error. What is in there at the end is what Jordan told me. And I think at the time I used the word bed, which was an inartful way for me to say he went to sleep. I think I said he went to bed, which wasn't true either. So absolutely right. That's from the very first letter. I have in there exactly what he told me and what happened.
I got it. So here's the question. If he saw them leave, the whole point is that they're leaving, right? Nobody was saying they were going to sleep over. They wind up in the backyard, and one of them at least doesn't have a coat. So that's inconsistent with leaving and, with them just winding up in the backyard. Where did he think they were going, and what does he think of the fact that one of them didn't have a coat?
We never discussed where he thought they were going, but there's nothing that's inconsistent with them leaving. They could have went out there. It was very icy and cold that night. They could have gotten their, I don't know how many cars they came in. There were 3 of them. And
he should know. I mean, you should be talking, I don't know, talking to his client. Maybe he claims the client doesn't know. I don't know. He should know. What I heard, it was 2 vehicles and 1 carpooled. So it's 3 guys, 2 of them carpooled to pose. That's what I heard through just internet talk. I don't know.
There were only 2 cars left on the street. They could have decided they wanted to go back inside his house for some reason. People leave the house all the time without coats. It doesn't matter how cold it is. So I can't, answer to that statement.
You see Cuomo's face?
He doesn't know what happened to them, and he never saw them again at the point that they were walking towards the front door and leaving his house.
I mean, the whole thing of this guy saying, adding in now, which was like a recent addition, that maybe after whatever Jordan was sleeping or whatever he was doing, maybe they possibly came back after leaving. And so I don't know, it's so weird. So was he sleeping? Was he high, incapacitated? Were they all on something? Like what?
So if all of that is true, there is still a question. This has to be about drugs. Booze, drugs, whatever it is. Because if they're not,
to me, it's got to be more than booze. I know some people can't really handle it. It's got to be more
shot, and they're not stabbed, and they're all dead. It just strains common sense to believe they could have wound up in this predicament if it wasn't done to them without drugs. It is the elephant in the room. What is the position of your client?
As I told you last night, Chris, I'm not in a position to comment on that at this time for a variety of reasons, not just on behalf of Jordan. And when and if the toxicology report comes out and when we get it, I'd certainly be happy to comment on it at that time. I'm not going to speculate about the activity and the behavior of other people who were not in the presence of my client at some point in time that evening or early morning hours.
And look, we both understand.
Or early morning hours.
Understand the dilemma, okay? If the tox comes out and they had whatever,
I guess because it may be 12 a.m., but he said he left at 12.
It is in it that makes this a more understandable situation. He's now going to be chasing his responsibility as opposed to being in front of it and owning what happened that night.
And you can see by his facial expression, he didn't like that statement.
And one of those is a much more satisfying thing in terms of credibility. You're aware that is the dilemma here.
No, I don't see it that way. And, he has an attorney and I'm representing his best interest. And he did nothing wrong. And that's what we're saying. That's what we're maintaining. And that's what we're going to say, no matter what comes back in that autopsy report.
Right. Well, something's going to come back. And I will give you a platform at that time and we'll discuss it because things just never don't make sense. Eventually, it will make sense and responsibility will lie where it does, and we'll take it to its logical conclusion. John Paserno, thank you very much for being with us again. Yes, sir. I
would like to address those the phone calls and the text messages if I could, since the reporter left that hanging out there.
Go ahead, because the initial suggestion was he only got a Facebook message and nobody was really trying to get him. Malik says that's not true because the fifth friend says that he was getting messages and he was trying to find them and he wasn't getting his messages answered either. So what is it?
So I have sent your staff the records, his phone records, which I acquired this afternoon, and also the text message records. And during that period of time, the phone calls that came in on the early morning hour after the game on the 7th and the early morning hours of the 8th, all the way to the 8th, and then all the way to the 9th when the police came. The only calls that came in were one from his dad, which we read.
Yeah, somebody had commented that yesterday or somewhere, and I just saw somebody saying now, who is this Bertolino? Who said that in the chat? That was funny. Steve Bertolino, the attorney for Brian Laundrie with the Gabby Petito story. That attorney was a trip.
Recognize the number, and you have the actual numbers. Mm-hmm. And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number. He has a robo killer app on his phone. And so when calls come in that are unrecognized or for whatever reason, they read as this dummy number. I've dialed this dummy number myself. It's a non-existent number. You get a message saying whatever. It's a dummy number. And then the only other call that came in was all zeros, a call that he blocked again from a robocop.
What about
the text messages?
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the text messages go, which you have, there are a series of incoming text messages. That's all we have. There are no outgoing text messages. So the corollary to that, what goes along with what makes sense to that is when you and I get a text message, typically we're going to respond. If somebody texts you and says, hey, these 3 guys are missing, and they're your friend, you're going to respond. If Alex had said, if someone had said to him, the text message came in, why don't you respond? You would respond to your friend, right? That's what you would do.
Maybe.
The reporter wanted to twist my words when I said he didn't receive any messages.
Maybe.
And technically I'm right. His phone received the messages. If you don't look at it, you did not receive the messages. I guess I should have said he didn't read the messages. And yes, as far as the text message from his friend, he did not tell me about that. And when I was informed of that, I asked him about that. And then he told me that's right. So there's 2 text messages, or excuse me, a Facebook message and a text message. And neither one he got before the police arrived at his home.
All right.
But the phone records that you have are consistent with him. If you look at them, the calls were early in the morning.
Yeah,
and
we have
his
them.
dad called at noon and he picked up. He didn't pick up any in the morning. He didn't pick up any in the evening when he would have been sleeping. There were no other phone calls. And the text messages, the same way, there's no outgoing text messages those 2 days.
Right.
Which, as you know, who can stay off their phone for 2 days straight unless you're principally sleeping it out of it and you don't have your phone around you? Mm. So everything is consistent with what he's saying. And again, one last thing.
Go ahead.
He purchased Kansas City Chiefs playoff tickets, TBA, for the team the next week because we didn't know who it was going to be. I have those tickets. Okay. Who does that if they're going to harm 3 or 4 of their very best friends and they're no longer
somebody with a lot of forethought? I was just kidding. I don't know. Oh, look at his face too. That's a good thumbnail image there. I need to take that. Hold on 1 second. It's a little blurry, but here, I take a screenshot of this. Okay. That'll be for the next thumbnail. All right.
planning on them being there.
I get it.
I mean, the conspiracy theories are just ridiculous. Who harms someone and leaves them in their backyard?
I get it. I get it.
To find them.
In a vacuum of what is known, people fill it in to satisfy their frustration with the unknown.
I appreciate it.
It's just, I'm just not one of them. So as we get the facts, we'll go along and eventually it'll make sense. John Pacerno, thank you very much.
Yeah, I can tell for sure Cuomo's very skeptical of this story and what the attorney's saying. But of course, I guess we just have to wait for the talks. But honestly, I mean, I was even saying, even if drugs come back, there might not necessarily be anybody that gets charged for anything. You know, I did a story a couple of days ago. You should definitely check it out. It's on my front page, and I spent quite a bit of time editing it. About this couple that froze to death, and we listened to the 911 calls and stuff. It was crazy. And at the towards the end, they were on meth, I guess. But like, they had left their car and they froze, and they found out a couple of days ago they were partying at these people's house, this mother and son that are doing it also, and they just got charged for possession. That was it. They weren't able to link that or correlate the deaths to that. So I don't know. Just because they get a positive result back doesn't necessarily mean that they're just going to charge anybody there, Jordan or whoever else. Michelle, thank you for the 5. Says, what about the phone records and those calling and texting him, though? He claims he gave the phone records over. News Nation has it. That would be interesting if they released it. And somebody said something about 911 call. There is no 911 call. Yeah, there's like I heard there's the dispatch audio or something. I don't have that audio yet. There's some dispatch audio or something like that. I'll try to look for it and see if we can get a hold of it. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's it for tonight. So we'll be back here early tomorrow morning. I have it set for 8:45 a.m. The unprecedented trial of Jennifer Crumley being charged for what her son did. So thank you guys for coming tonight. Please hit the like button. Please, if you hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. And subscribe. Oh, and if there's a chase tonight, it's going to be on the second channel. So please make sure you're subscribed to Ickemel CC. You just type ICKEDMEL space CC. If there's a chase or a standoff or something like that, I'll be back. Where's Carlos when you need him, right? Carlito. So good night, guys. Thank you so much. And I'm going to transfer you to the morning stream, all right? Peace.